Brian here, Set the Pace Triathlon. We're going to do a little bit of a chat about doing some homework. So when you're doing your training leading up to a race, you know your levels. And what levels am I talking about? I'm talking about your sweat rate levels. So what I have my athletes doing as they're doing their longer rides, longer runs, they're recording data such as temperature, how long they did the workout, what weight they were before and after, how much fluid they drank, how many solids they ate. So all this stuff that they should be measuring in training, so you know your levels, so you're prepared on race day. So know your sweat rate. So measure in training. Know how much fluid you're losing for bikes and runs, so you can make sure, and you can do swims as well if you want. I mean, 2.4 mile swim if you're doing an Ironman, 1.2 mile swim on a swim, or on a 70.3. So it could be beneficial to know kind of where you're at sweat rate, to know if you need to be catching up in T1 a little bit in the first part of the bike if you've lost a significant amount of weight during the swim. But it's not as crucial and critical. But know your sweat rate, have a ballpark idea of what you're losing per hour, and especially depending on the conditions. So especially now if you're in the winter, you're in the cooler months, you're going to have to probably tweak that a little bit just to be ready for when it's warmer outside and you're going to sweat more. What I also specifically want to talk to is the possibility of knowing the composition of your sweat. So there's a couple companies out there. There's Levelin. They have a couple starter kits, and I mean it's a little pricey, but it could help you out. And then Gatorade is developing their sweat patch as well. I think it's in beta right now. People are testing it out. So it's an opportunity to actually do a workout, get sweat information, send it to them, and they'll analyze it and tell you the breakdown of your sweat. So how much potassium, sodium, because people, nobody's the same. Some people could be losing a lot of salt. Some people could be losing a lot of potassium, iron. There's all kinds of other stuff. And there's so many products out there now that you can get specialized for what you need. You can change the different ingredients and everything and get it dialed in. Or you can find products that if it's supplied on a course, like Gatorade Endurance, if that supplies everything you need, then you're all set. So this kind of homework, when you're doing your training, knowing your levels, that could get you into a certain circumstance. You can know if you need specialized products. You can use what's on the course. You can figure out in training how this stuff treats you over longer rides, longer runs. Try it in warm conditions, cold conditions. You never know how it's going to react. That way you have kind of a foolproof way to have the best idea possible on race day, how it's going to treat you, how you're going to react, especially if you're doing longer distance courses, you're doing it in the middle of the summer. If you sweat a lot, it's going to affect your performance in the race and how you feel. So if you can do testing of some sort, like I said, at this point in time, Gatorade's kind of in the beta mode. Levelin, I mean, it's pricey, $160, but it gives you a good idea, especially with the time and the money and the commitment you're going to spend for a full Ironman race, $150 in the grand scheme of things, to make sure that your race does not fall off the rails at mile 6 on the run. That might be kind of worth it, especially you talk about things like coaching and everything else. The time and effort and energy you save spending a little bit more money up front could be saving a lot of headache later during the race if you get to a point where you crash, bonk, or you're pulled off the course because you have severe cramps because you're too dehydrated or missing minerals or something like that. So this video specifically, I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page about knowing your levels, knowing what your sweat rate is, knowing what you're losing in that sweat, and finding the composition of it so you could be better prepared as an athlete when you go out there. So you get out there and you get the most out of race day, or at least get to a point where you're comfortable as possible and you don't get to the finish line, or you're dragging and you just, it's the worst experience ever, when you could have saved yourself a little pain and suffering by doing a little bit of homework up front. Again, with any video, if you've got any questions, you got any comments, put them in there and I'll always get back to you guys. And that is it for this video. We'll talk to you later.